Well, a great pleasure to be here today. I'm very great pleasure to be here today. I'm very pleased to have been asked to give the presentation because it made me think about the stuff we've been doing. I'm doing the talking, but I must stress the help I've had from my wife, who is also an audiologist and a Macquarie graduate. You know, it's very much a joint effort, and a lot of other people have been involved in the work in Samoa. And I hope perhaps some of you here might consider, some involvement at some stage in it, because there's still plenty to do. Okay, now we're talking about a tropical paradise here, and the shot of the trees is the view from the hotel that we stay in. When you sit in the restaurant, that's what you see. You can see the coral reef, the sea breaking over it. I used to dream about these when I lived in Manchester in the UK. I used to dream about. I came here in 1980. Despite my accent, you'd think that I'd only just arrived. But I used to dream about these places and read about them and so on. And the other picture is Robert Louis Stevenson's house. He went there when he was suffering from TB, and he sort of did an awful lot. He's a hero to the people of Samoa because there was a lot of racialism, and he was very pro the Samoan people and so on. And when he died, there were 10,000 people came out to his funeral. So he's an interesting figure. If you go there, make sure you go and look at his house. Okay, well, a few key points. By the way, I'm conscious that the audiology students will have to go at 11, because I think possibly my son's teaching you at that stage, which is really quite funny. We want to get him to come out to Samoa sometime. Now, we're going to talk about why we went there. The Sanese Centre, which is the group that we work with, it's I sometimes refer to it as a school for the deaf, but their aim is to get the children out into regular schools. Our involvement, the equipment, the local staff, the hearing aid services, and we're focusing on hearing aid services, although there are a lot of other important things. Some of the things with ear molds, and a few of our cases, and then some other slides about the future. Oh, another picture of Samoa. I think this is one of the things I pinched from a tourist brochure, but very, very pretty. Okay, there are two islands. The one at the top is larger, Savai, more sparsely populated. We have worked there. We worked in the hospital, and we actually were fitting hearing aids in the operating theatre. They said if there's an urgent emergency, you'll have to move out and stop. But we were lucky. But we need to go there more often, because the people there, to get to the lower island, Apollo, you have to get a bus and a ferry and a bus and so on. So we really need to go there more often. But we work on the lower of the two islands in Apia, and that's been our main location. The initiative came from, they had an Australian lady who went out there as a volunteer. She was a teacher of the deaf, met a handsome Samoan gentleman and married him and stayed there. So when the children were a bit older, she decided to start a school, and she sort of wanted the children to be fitted with hearing aids. So she contacted a lady called Jan North at what was the Royal Institute of Deaf and Blind Children, and she asked for help. So an audiologist went there a couple of times, and then that group stopped going, so we were asked to take over. And in 2008 we began our visits, and there were very poor conditions. I've been in corrugated iron building with no running water, and the hearing aids, we were just using used hearing aids, and I can remember repairing, getting one to work by getting two broken ones and you know, changing the components around, and it was very difficult. But things have improved enormously, and we've got some contacts with the Rotary Club of Carlingford and the Rotary Club of Apia, which have helped, and they're you know, it's been quite a journey. But when we first went there, no children had been fitted with hearing aids. I'm sometimes amused by publications. People sort of report on the situation in Samoa and said how dreadful it was, and then they publish the article and move on to something else. But there is an article like that, which. But I think we've sort of made some impact, but I must stress that there are a lot of other people besides Cristy and I doing the work out there. This Senese Centre is the point of contact. The lady who was the principal there, you know, eventually left, and then there was a period when it wasn't so well run, but it's going very well now. They've got some very enterprising Samoan people who are running it. It's we used to work in their building. Now we work in the new hospital, and they organise the caseloads. They are looking after the children. They contact other schools, and they actually do screening. So they've got staff who, you know, we've trained. Janelle Cook from Next Sense, you know, has been out to Samoa several times, and she's done some training too. And Simone Punch too has been with us, and so on. They've been involved in identifying new cases, but unfortunately. Very late. You know, it was like the UK in the 1970s. The children were being found at you know, age 5 when they began school. It's a non-government organisation, so they are very limited in funds. Although recently they have done better, but sometimes they don't get paid. You know, it's a very difficult situation. What they do is they do liaise with the parents and teachers, and one of the big strengths was their contact with the parents, and they sort of they use total communication because it's a totally different scene from Australia. It's like going back in time. Because so few cochlear implants have been fitted there, and there are some very deaf children, and the services aren't great, sign is quite a good solution in those situations, although it's an anathema to some people. But they put children in mainstream schools, and they have sign language interpreters to support them. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but that's the general pattern they've gone for. We've been 24 times now. We began in September 2008. We went 3 times a year, which was heavy going. It was about the time I retired from Macquarie. We started going, and we paid our own airfares, and we worked on a voluntary basis. We did get accommodation free of charge at the beginning, but now we pay, but they do make a reduction. And we even got a car in the early days, because one of the Rotarians ran a car hire company, but he's passed away, so we have to pay now. Again, I think they give us a discount. But other audiologists joined us. After 2012, there were groups that went separately. So as I say, it was working reasonably well, but COVID was a nuisance. We went there just before COVID really broke, and we only just got out of the place. It was sort of interesting. At the airport, they held us all squashed together in a room, telling us how dangerous COVID was, and so on. So we take a bit of kit with us, These we have all the equipment that we need. We have bought equipment and left it there, but sometimes the things that we left, like laptops, were wrecked. So a long story, but basically they do have equipment there, but we take a lot with us just to be on the safe side. Those involved, well, we've got a lot of Australian audiologists have been there, including Simone Punch, who's got this sort of severe hearing loss. She was very handy because the children were, there was a naughty boy who wouldn't wear his hearing aids, and she was talking to him, and she has long hair, and she pulled her blonde hair back, and there was her hearing aid, and the children were astonished because she could speak, she had a job, she was doing the testing, she was, it was like a great role model, and I'm sure the naughty boy, it got to him. We also had Megan, who's just turned up actually to say hello. She looks very similar. She's in the top picture. She was a master's student we took out there to do a project. She did a write-up about the situation, and it was in 2010 and 2011. I got applied for what was in those days, it was an AusAid Youth Ambassador. It was like a scholarship, and they would ship you out there for a year, and we sent people to. I sent one to China, one to Fiji, one to the Philippines, and this was Kerry, who went to. She came back early because there was a flood, and her house was engulfed, and she had to swim for it. So it's something that you need to do if you're young and adventurous. But she did a great job, and she tested and fitted children with hearing aids. Now, so we carry out hearing assessments, we fit hearing aids, we check them, we service them, and replace them, and so on. We got some bone-anchored hearing aids, and we fitted those. I'll show you some of the cases. We also took spare parts for the children who have cochlear implants. They were fitted thanks to Professor Gibson. We're not able to do any more, unfortunately, but at least there were a few there. And up to, I counted the cases we'd seen. I sort of kept a diary. These are the numbers of people that we've seen since, this is Cristy and I. Now the other groups may have seen more people, of course, but those are the ones that we kept track of. And you can see we fitted a lot of BAHAs, which are these bone-anchored hearing aids. I'll show you. They're very expensive, so it was actually great to get refurbished ones. I've spent a lot of time going around asking people for favours. I've become a scrounger, we would have said in the UK. And we've been quite successful, because if you say that we're going out doing the work, people will come to the party, sort of thing. And I looked at the NOAA database. For those of you who are not audiologists, NOAA's a sort of framework that you can use when you have hearing aid software in it, and you can see how many people have been fitted. And I looked on our last trip, we merged the databases, and there are 490 cases on it. And we were fitting hearing aids before NOAA came out. So, that was good news. This is one of our regular customers. We saw her on the last visit. She is a very tiny, a lot of Samoan people are very big. She's very tiny, and she's profoundly deaf, and she's been a regular hearing aid user. She's a good example. Some of them do fade away, but there are a number that I'll show you who've stuck around and come in to see us regularly, thanks to the work of Samoa. Our latest visit, which was last month, we sort of worked in the clinic for a week with the Senese people. We were in the new clinic in the hospital, which I'll show you later. It's extremely well equipped. There are 4 acoustic acoustically treated rooms shipped out from Australia. The hospital was built by Chinese funding. DFAT have given $1 million towards improving ENT services in the hospital, and we managed to get a share of it. So I saw Cristy tested 44 clients. She was really, going at it there, and I saw 27 children and 5 adults and fitted 25 hearing aids. 7 of these were people we hadn't seen before. 18 of the hearing aids were new models because we've got this funding from DFAT. It runs out in June, and we have to think about the future, but we have got quite a few things for them which will last a while. I took 15. Well, my colleague in Samoa, who you'll see a slide of, is actually better at taking in mold impressions than I am, which is rather embarrassing. But she, these are people we've trained, and she did the impressions, and we brought them back. We got them made up at a reduced cost, and we've sent them back for the kids. So I left 4 hearing aids set up for them to fit, and they can. Rowena, who works with me, can use the software, and sometimes the pre-loved hearing aids, and Hearing Matters have been very kind and got some hearing aids for us, and they got some very unusual high power ones which I took with me, and they're all now in Samoa. But they're useful because sometimes a child comes in and you've got these hearing aids which have been hard to get. They're expensive, the Phonak Naidas, and so sometimes they fit, if the situation looks a bit iffy, they fit the child with a second-hand aid. They've been checked and they're working and fitted properly and all that. But just to see how things go. And then if they don't lose them or throw them away or whatever, they'll fit them with a new one. So that was extremely useful, having these pre-loved hearing aids. And we saw a number of children who were long-term hearing aid users, and we brought back 2 audiometers for calibration. One of them is an antique, a Beltone, and the other one was a new triangle, which we purchased with the money from DFAT. So the Sanese people are quite good about getting the stuff calibrated and so on. Now, this is Cristy. The flower in your hair is very important about which side you wear it in, girls, if you do come to Samoa. If you wear it on one side, it means you're unattached. If you wear it on the other side, it means you're married, and I can't remember which is which, but I hope my wife was wearing it on the right side, and she's wearing her Rotary outfit there. This was a young lady who came in for, I think, her first time fit, and she was dressed in this spectacular Samoan outfit. She looked really, really very, very, very cute, and she sort of was, I hear, using the hearing aid a lot now. These are some of the children we've seen over the years. Cristy's put this together, as she has with a number of the slides. And you can see children smiling when they've been fitted, and the reaction. And sometimes their faces do light up. Sometimes they're so deaf that they don't light up. But, we've had... there are a lot of, I think we were just talking about this earlier, a lot of conductive losses, and when you put a hearing aid on them, it's dramatic. But we've had a few, it's good when you see this happen.